Heat, 76ers, or Celtics? Where do you think is the best landing spot?
Easily the Miami Heat, no question about it. First of all, culture. Secondly, coaching. Thirdly, and most importantly, when you've got a star like Jimmy Butler, who's a rough rider, when you got a better than average, an all-star in Bam Adebayo, and then you have some of the personnel. You got to remember, this is a Miami Heat team that was an 8th seed, obviously had to endure the play-in, but nevertheless ended up in the NBA Finals, okay? They beat Milwaukee, they beat the New York Knicks, they beat the Boston Celtics in a 7-game series. You take all of those things into consideration, along with the fact that you had 7 players who were undrafted that was contributing. It shows you what that culture and that coaching means. And that's what you have to pay attention to. What are they missing? What did I say they were missing all season long, particularly, especially in the playoffs, because I ain't paid too much attention to them during the regular season because they were an average team. They were up and down, worst offensive efficiency, 109.5 points per game during the regular season. That was worse than the NBA. You just looked at them right there in the regular season. You didn't feel that much. During the postseason, entirely different ball game. They were obviously elevated their three-point prowess and what have you, something that they did not do in the regular season. What were they still missing? Even as we watched them ascend, we said a number one option, a sniper, a long-range dude. That is not Jimmy Butler, okay? That's why you can't have him as your number one option. You needed somebody not only with the shooting ability, but the ability to close. And that's something that we will get into later as we talk about Damian Lillard. But when you look at that, he clearly brings that to the table. In Philadelphia, the oft-injured, injuries of Joel Embiid, that's problematic. You'd probably have to give up Maxey because there's no way in hell you're going to get Damian Lillard to Philadelphia without surrendering Tyrese Maxey. So to me, that's not enough, okay? And then when you think about the Boston Celtics, I'm thinking about the Brogdons, the Derek Whites of the world, and others that they have in play, along with 2 guys in a Jason Tatum and a Jaylen Brown, individuals that's playing on opposite sides of the court because for some reason Boston hasn't figured out how to play them, use them efficiently in 2-man basketball. Adding a Damian Lillard into the mix could disrupt things. It would make them lethal offensively, no question about it. But it's one of those things where it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn, and it might compromise the level of efficiency we've seen from the Boston Celtics. That's why I say when all things considered, coaching, culture, and everything else in between, I say Miami is the best place for Damian Lillard as opposed to Boston or Philadelphia.
First of all, can we finally get this trade done? I mean, we're going to have to wait now for the next 6 months before we find out where Damian Lillard is, please. And he's not Bill Walton, all right? Please. We won a championship. He's not Bill Walton.
Listen.
Start there. How do you sit there and compare Miami to Boston? It's the NBA capital of the world, Boston. You win a championship for the Boston Celtics, it's a big deal. You win a championship for the Miami Heat, who cares? Then that's a terrible sports area. You go win in Boston. Plus the fact Boston's better than Miami anyway, despite what happened to them last year in the postseason. That's a better team. Plus Miami just traded. Strus is gone. Vincent is gone. And we have seen how these 3-man wrecking crews, they work. Durant, Booker, Paul didn't work. Harden, Irving, Durant didn't work.
But you're telling him to join Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Well, Brown's going to be traded in this deal.
Listen, okay, I got what you're saying there. Again, because you're going to need to give up Brown for that. So I get your point. You are right about that. I still feel this. You can't forget Porzingis either. Now, you got Porzingis that you just added there and what have you. I'm not sure that works, okay? I'm looking at I'm looking at where you're coming from. That's a legitimate argument. But I still say, first of all, don't bring me Marcus. We're not talking Marcus. We understand Miami's not Boston. We get that. Miami's not Boston in a bad way in basketball. They aren't Boston in very good ways in every other way. So let's watch your mouth with that.
But again, Nash and Howard and Kobe never worked in L.A. Okay. When you bring these these great 3 teams with Butler, Adebayo, and him, it's something that always falls apart. I think go to the Celtics. Let's say Brown gets traded. You got Tatum and Porzingis and Horford and 2 good guards. I mean, that's a very, very good team. And boy, that Boston Celtics, the Leprechaun, Red Auerbach, Cousy, Russell, Bird. That's basketball. That is basketball.
That is basketball, and I will not deny that. Nobody's refuting that. But at the end of the day, when you take into account Boston and what you're talking about here, this is the hypocrisy of Mad Dog Russo.
It's not being hypocritical.
It's a hypocrisy. Excuse me, you're a person that's lamented, high-powered offenses and stuff like that. That's not all it takes to win championships. This is something that you talk. Now, you look at Jaylen Brown, obviously at 6'6", 6'7", he's far more formidable defensively than of Damian Lillard. Offensively, the Boston Celtics haven't had too many issues anyway, with Tatum, with Brown, with Horford, with Robert Williams, with Derek White, with Brogdon, with Marcus Smart at the time. They were still a big-time offense in the National Basketball Association. Now, they would be inconsistent at times, and we get all of that, and that would be the same issue with Damian Lillard to some degree. I'm just taking into account the fact that I'm looking at Spoelstra. You've lamented Mazzulla. You talked about his rookie tendencies.
Spoelstra.
He's good, but you talk about Mazzulla.
Spoelstra, great coach.
That's right, Spoelstra. So, again, I said culture. And I said coaching. We can't ignore that either. And the personnel and how it fits together. You're looking, I'm very surprised at you, considering how much you lean on the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I'm very, very surprised that you are focusing on individuality as opposed to team chemistry. That's something you would have to figure out. In Miami, Damian Lillard is a missing piece. There is no question. There's no missing piece in Boston. He's a missing piece in Miami. You can't ignore that.
Who's the surrounding cast in Miami? They've already lost Strus. They already obviously
give me Strus.
Vincent.
First of all,
and they're going to lose, Hero to Portland in a trade.
Hold on.
So who is the backup orchestra for him?
I've sat here across from you for the last year, honorably, I might add, because I'm happy to have you here each week. Here's the point, Mad Dog Russo. I've seen you look at a dude's resume, and no matter how impeccable it was, did you see what he did in Game 6? Of the NBA playoffs and the Eastern Conference Finals.
I pick out the games.
You pick out the games. But we're going to ignore the fact that Max Strus went scoreless in two games in the NBA Finals. All right, and that he couldn't even average, and he didn't even average 7 points a game. He was god awful. Okay,
that's $60 million.
Excuse me. The man went scoreless. He's lucky he got paid. He's lucky he got paid. Okay, Gabe Vincent's a different animal. I love the Lakers picking up Gabe Vincent, but Max Strus, he's got a lot to make up for because there is no excuse for a shooting guard on an NBA team in an NBA Finals to go scoreless in 2 games.
I agree. But you're missing the background of the team, the winning culture. Those kind of players came out of nowhere and played really well for them, including Vincent.
Right.
And who are the other 3 or 4 guys they're going to use in big spots? Duncan Robinson?
So, excuse me. First of all, I like Duncan Robinson. I like Duncan Robinson better than Strus. Let me tell you something right now. He looked better than Strus in the finals. Okay, Martin struggled, but he didn't struggle in the Eastern Conference Finals. He did a number on. Excuse me, I gave you, that's 5 players
you
right
need
there.
2 more.
Excuse me, we'll find 2 more. It's Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. I did say that they played 7 undrafted players. You don't have faith that they could find 2 dudes to contribute coming off the bench? If I've got a 5 that's led by Butler, Adebayo, Lillard, okay, Duncan Robinson, Martin, you trying to tell me I can't find a couple of more players if I'm Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra? Is that what you're trying to say?
Robert Williams, Porzingis, Horford, Brogdon, Derek White, and Tatum.
Well,
that's a better group than the backup orchestra for Miami.
I am not saying it's not a better group. What I am saying is that because you have the multitude of individuals, you've got another dude coming in that's going to require the ball. You never know how it can disrupt those things. Whereas in Miami, you have a fit. This is exactly who they need. He's the perfect complement to what they've already built.
And by the way, I'm proud of Lillard for requesting a trade. Don't think I didn't read that this week.
I'm very proud.
I said, what?
I'm very proud.
Who cares? And he's proud. I couldn't believe it. What?
Everybody cares.
If Lillard is good as you say he is, he is going to be able to go to Boston and fit in like a glove.
If Lillard is who I say he is,
he'll be able to fit in there in Boston.
How about, I'm not questioning Lillard's greatness no matter where he goes.
Well, fine. What are you worried about then?
I'm not questioning his greatness. I'm not questioning what he's going to do. I'm just saying that to me, the ideal fit for him is Miami as opposed to Boston. I'm not saying Boston's a bad fit by any stretch of the imagination, but the ideal fit is him. You'd have to figure things out in Boston, which I'm confident they'll do enough at least to get to the conference finals. But in Miami, he's specifically and exactly what they need.
Boston would be a better team with them, and they'd win it. They got a good chance to win a championship.
They got a good chance to win a championship anyway. I got them as favorites right now. I've got Boston as the favorites right now.
Oh, no, they don't.
Right now. Right now.
Can I see Porzingis? Can I see Porzingis play for 70 games?
So now we want to see Porzingis. You just finished raving about him a second ago. Now you need to see him. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? This is what you do. This is what you do. But it's all right.
I use something in one way and then I go the other way.
There you go. There you go. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.